I've been hearing a story which I think is worrying and should be worrying all of us, which is that there are some among our people, South Africans, who are very, very concerned that something terrible is going to happen to them since Madiba has departed. I'm saying that should worry us because we are all of us saying this is a moment of celebration, but there are others in our country who are saying it's actually a moment of panic. They are worried that now Madiba has gone, something terrible is going to happen to them. And I think all of us know why that is the case. And the reason for it is because Madiba has been very closely associated with this matter of national reconciliation. Very closely associated with this effort to build a non-racial South Africa. But that has come across to some people as a Mandela project. That this was a Madiba project. That the matter of the unity of our people, black and white, that our reconciliation, our capacity to build a new future together, despite what had happened in the past, that vision belonged only to Nelson Mandela. And therefore that when he departs, the vision will depart with him. So when I hear this story, I say to myself that it's clear that there's some explanation that needs to be made. And indeed, I think it's even necessary to say to people who are worried, who are concerned, who are panicking, that it's necessary for us to say to them, no, but the rest of us are here. And that the rest of us surely are not going to allow that something disastrous happens to other South Africans because Madiba is dying. He was an outstanding representative who projected a particular vision for our country, including the matter about national unity and national reconciliation, about non-racialism. An outstanding representative of that particular vision, a vision which had been advanced for a long time by an equally outstanding generation. I think that is part of what we've got to be teaching. That here is this outstanding son of our people, but he represented and belonged among an equally outstanding generation. Let me read you something here which says something about what I'm talking about. I'm going to offer a prize of R9.99 to anybody who will tell me when I'm finished reading all of this. Who wrote it and when? I hope the security have got that money. We believe in a society in which the white and the non-white people of the Union will work and live in harmony for the common good of our fatherland and share equally in the good things of life which our country offers in abundance. We believe in the brotherhood of man and in the upholding of human respect and dignity. Never has my Congress preached hatred against any racial group in the country. On the contrary, it has stretched out its hand of friendship to all South Africans of all races, emphasizing that there is sufficient room for all indisputable country of ours in which we can and must live in peace and friendship. I would, for emphasis, reiterate that it is our ardent desire in Congress to see human conduct and relations motivated by an overriding passion for peace and friendship in South Africa and in the world in general, and so would be as strongly opposed to black domination or any other kind of domination from whatever source as we are uncompromisingly opposed to white domination. We regard domination, exploitation, and racialism as arch enemies of mankind. As I've stressed directly and indirectly throughout this letter, no time should be lost in making contact with the leadership of the organizations and bodies. No time should be lost by the government in making contact with the leadership of organizations and bodies, among them the African National Congress, the representatives of organized African opinion, with a view not only to discuss the problems and issues such as I have drawn attention to in this letter, but to consider the advisability and possibility of calling a multiracial convention to seek a solution to our pressing national problems. Who's going to win the fight? When? This was a letter that was written by the then president of the ANC, Albert Mtuli, and the then Prime Minister Strato in 1957. And so you see what Nelson Mandela represented. This vision of South Africans, black and white, living together in harmony, sharing what our country produces in abundance. Of the opposition to black domination as is opposed to white domination. Of the need for us to come together in a national convention, a process of negotiation to resolve the problems of our country. That's why I was saying that Nelson Mandela was an outstanding representative of an outstanding generation. And that is why it is incorrect for any South African to feel any sense of fear that this vision which Albert Lutuli spoke about in 1957, this vision, sadly, in 2013, belongs only to Nelson Mandela rather than all of us. We have been saying to ourselves that we should celebrate Madiba's life. And I think that is correct. Because indeed there is much to celebrate. I think one of the things that we need to attend to is the education of our youth. It's the education of our youth about our struggle. I think all of us have seen this very good slogan, freedom was not free. And I think this message needs to be communicated to say freedom was not free, so that the younger generations, as they grow up, they understand their task to defend that freedom. And that task to use that freedom to produce something good. This generation that I'm talking about, the generation of Nelson Mandela, actually we owe to it all of the strategic outcomes of the last 50 years. When we talk about the development of the struggle to end the system of apartheid, whatever form it took, whether in the form of mass action or armed struggle or negotiation, all of these decisions about how we should wage the struggle come from this generation. It would seem as though this is a generation that met and said, the time had come that we bring to an end 350 years of colonialism in apartheid. That we'd reach this point. And then had to take all of the necessary decisions to make sure that that outcome was achieved. Those among us who were present then will remember that one of the important slogans was freedom in our lifetime. That was a new slogan. Our people had engaged in struggle over a long period of time, but it was during this period that the slogan took hold, freedom in our lifetime. So I'm saying we owe to this generation that history from the 1940s until we sat here in 1991 to negotiate for a new South Africa. And it is important, again, I was saying that it is important for our young people to get to understand all of that. To get to understand the challenges of mobilizing our people to say, you must become your own liberator. The challenge that it took in 1952 for people to say, let us defy unjust laws and go to jail. When nobody wanted to go to jail. I was, can I tell a secret? I was 10 years old in 1952. Staying with my uncle in Queenstown. I had a younger cousin. He was 8 years old. And we're sitting at home. People are doing if anybody comes from Queenstown. There's one hand there. The second last street of Queenstown, the town, the white town, before you went into the townships, was Scarlet Street. We stayed on Scarlet Street. And one Saturday afternoon, a convoy of vehicles drove down Scarlet Street with people speaking on a loud air. And the loud kept saying, Lord, Lord. I said, it's not by Glory alone. It was the late James and Jongwe who was mobilizing, looking for volunteers to join the defiance campaign. So this cousin of mine, they used to meet right on the edge of the township. mass meeting there. So we went and volunteered. We collected 2 and 6. That was the membership fee to join the ANC. So we collected Coca-Cola bottles, things like that, and sold them. There were Chinese shops behind us, and they would buy those bottles. So we collected 26 each, 26 each, went to the rally, and said we also want to volunteer. They said, look, keep the money, we'll come back to you tomorrow. No, but I'm saying, here is this generation which could inspire even children like us to say, let's mobilize and do something, let's all go to jail. I think we've got to discuss the challenges that faced us and the pain and the agonizing that went into the decision to take up arms. It wasn't easy for people who were for decades had committed themselves to non-violent struggle. And neither was it easy when it came to the time to say, now was the time to negotiate rather than to carry out. To convince people to change, to say that the new circumstances have changed, now this was not good. But I'm saying this generation took us through all of these phases, and I think it is correct that we should say we should celebrate their lives. Because what we celebrate is the fact that they said freedom in our lifetime, and we got freedom in our lifetime. I think we should celebrate the generation and celebrate Nelson Mandela, celebrate the generation to which he belongs, for the vision they gave us about the new South Africa. You can see the outline of it in the letter by A.J. Lutuli that I read. And in fact, that vision, I would like to state this quite firmly, that vision is what actually informs our national constitution. Negotiated by all of the parties that were party to this constitution. But what it means is that the vision which had been sustained for such a long time by this particular generation had become a national vision. And all South Africans, black and white, had said, at last, we agree. And I think that's an extraordinary achievement that is attributable to Nelson Mandela and this generation. That after all of these centuries of division, the centuries of conflict, the centuries of definitions of ourselves which were in conflict with one another, that after all of that, South Africa could agree to this common vision which had been propagated and sustained for so long by the Nelson Mandela generation. In 1987, I had the fortune to meet the then chairperson of the African Brotherhood, Professor Peter de Lange. And Peter de Lange said to me, we met in New York. And he said to me, when you go back to Lusaka, please tell Oliver Tambo that we are going to take some steps There's a note here which says, you are speaking too much, please shut up. No, know, it says the speakers outside are off. So I must stop. They are trying to fix that. That's why I'm coming out. I was saying that I had the fortune to meet the then chairperson of the program, Professor Peter Lange. And he said to me, when you get back to Lusaka, please say to Mr. Tambo that we constructed, as Afrikaners, we constructed the apartheid system as a wall, as a ladder. Because as white people, we're very, very fearful that we would be overwhelmed in this black continent. They had a mind, they defined a relationship between black and white, which was necessarily a relationship of conflict and death and destruction for them. And Peter Lange did say that they would begin taking down some bricks from this wall, from this ladder. They would remove, they would abolish the Mixed Marriages Act, they would abolish the Immorality Act, which maybe to Oliver Tambo might not look very significant. But the Afrikaners would find the day after these two laws had been abolished, and nothing had happened. That they were still okay. In the end, they were arrived at this position of asking themselves, why do we need white minority rule anyway? But I'm saying, it is, I think, remarkable that you would have a vision such as that was spelled out and sustained and propagated by the Nelson Mandela generation. A vision like that, which in the end, even the people who had constructed this lager of apartheid among themselves would say it's a right vision. And I think it is a great achievement for which we should celebrate the life of Nelson Mandela. And of course, we must celebrate them for the sacrifices they made and the sacrifices they were prepared to make. As I was saying the other day, we buried Red September. And one of his sons spoke there, Mark September. And it was rather painful, because he spoke about how the father had abandoned them. We grew up without our father. Couldn't reach him, couldn't touch him. So I said, you see, Mark, the challenge is that your father, Red September, took a difficult decision that he had to serve the people of South Africa. And for that reason, the children suffer. But the nation benefits. This leadership was ready to make those sacrifices. Their lead counsel during the Rona trial was the late Bram Fisher. Bram came to London to defend a case. He was already stayed, but they released him. He promised that he would come back. So he got to London, we saw him and tried to persuade him not to come back. But he said no. And Brown was not only a lawyer, a leading lawyer, an outstanding lawyer, but very much part of the leadership of our struggle. And he said no. Once we give our word, we have to keep it. And he came back. So Brown said to us that, as you know, the Rivonia tribes had been sentenced already by then. And he said he had had a difficult debate with them. Because they had said to him, after the judges said guilty, before sentence, they had said to him, in the event that you are sentenced to death, please don't appeal. So Brown said to us, I said to them, but why are you being reckless with your lives? We need you to be alive because the struggle is not one. So they said no. Don't appeal, because what will happen? In the event that we get sentenced to death, the people will ensure that that death sentence is not carried out. If we say appeal, that means we are saying to the people, do nothing. Wait until the apartheid judicial system decides indeed to confirm the death sentence. So they said, don't do it. So Brown said to us, you know, you young people, I don't know whether you have the same courage. Because here are these people, and they knew that by not appealing, they were possibly standing in danger of being hanged. But I'm saying that surely we have a duty to celebrate the example they set, celebrate their lives for the sacrifices that they were ready to make. But indeed, I think also in that context, we should not forget the sacrifices that other people made. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years. Walter stood and some others were there for 26 years. They released them in phases. My father was there for 25 years. But there were people who were hanged, died. There were people who were thrown out of police windows and fell to their deaths. There were people who were shot, including children. So I'm saying as we celebrate the life of Mandela and all the others, and indeed pay tribute to their sacrifices, we must not forget that there were other people who made enormous sacrifices, including sacrificing their lives. This is a generation that bequeathed to us many values. And I think principal about the values that they bequeathed to us was this value to serve the people, not to serve themselves. Such as commitment to principle. you are in this thing because we uphold certain principles. It might be difficult to achieve them, but the fact that it's difficult to achieve them doesn't mean you abandon the principle of the trade. They might be unpopular. There might be opponents who might even have a louder voice. But if this thing is right, then you've got to stand up and say it's right. And you've got to stand up and say whatever is its opposite is wrong. So I'm saying there's a whole set of values that they bequeathed to all of us, which is part of why we celebrate their lives. But I think that a celebration of those lives means a commitment to what lives stand for. It must be that. It can't just be a celebration and then I go home nice and say, I celebrate. What do I do about these things that were celebrated? We face many challenges, as all of us are aware. The departure of Nelson Mandela, and I lived it so soon before we celebrated the 20th anniversary of our democracy, poses a challenge to ask ourselves the question, where are we? Here are these goals I was saying, which this generation helped to build and in the end got accepted by the whole of society, of non-racialism, of non-sexism, of national reconciliation, of a prosperous society, of a shared prosperity, of the eradication of poverty and so on. Where are we with regard to the achievement of these goals? I think we need a critical examination of that, a self-critical examination of that, so that we're able to say, what did we do right and what did we do wrong, and what is it that we did and what is it that we didn't do. So that indeed, hopefully we can then elaborate a common way forward for the whole country. My sense, in terms of that review, one of the things that people was asked, I would say, we still need to do more work to achieve the goal of national reconciliation. And I would say that it's important also then to say, we as a people, what actions are we, all of us, taking to address, for instance, the matter of poverty? If you are rich and you live here in the middle, what contribution are you making to the eradication of poverty? If you are an investor in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, we must answer this question together with me. What is it that we are doing to eradicate this poverty? And that is only when we are able to act together to address important national challenges like that we can say we are really making progress with regard to national reconciliation. can't be that national reconciliation consists in our ability to drink tea together. We've got all of these enormous challenges ahead of us, which all of us know. Even as you just go around the country, you can see it's visible, it's in our eyes, that the legacy of apartheid lives on. What is it that we need to do to accelerate progress towards the eradication of this legacy? In the end, I think, for us to be able to address those matters correctly, to accelerate this progress that we need, we'll come back to this matter about the quality of leadership. The struggle for liberation called for the kind of leadership we try to speak about. The Mandelas and the others who were ready to sacrifice and ready to serve the people. This struggle we are faced with now is in many respects more complex, more difficult. It's even difficult to see who's an enemy. I think we would always make sure that we would never allow anybody to